Well, hello everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. And this is just sort of like a podcast video type thing of me just discussing um, these things that I see going on in the world and society. There's these things that have been going on that I've been thinking about for a long time and thinking about sort of the effects it's been having on people, particularly younger people. And I've um, I've like thinking about these things. I've had these thoughts just sort of trapped in my head, and I just feel like the best way to get it out is to record myself speaking about them and then posting them and something I'm very open to is conversation. So I'd like to get my aspect and my viewpoint out there and just see what people think. With these claims that I make, whenever I do make them, I always try to back them up, and then I'm gonna show you how I see the world in a lot of these videos, and you know I'm very for the fact that you can agree and disagree with them, and I'm very welcoming to a conversation about it. So feel free to just let's have a conversation about it. And this whole thing, kind of an introduction, and then we'll get into what I really wanted to talk about today. So this thing is more of just like a little bit of a podcast. I explained it just a moment ago, and I want to just talk about certain things that I see going on, and I just probably about once a week upload something once a week, and I have no idea how long these are going to be. They could be anywhere from 20 minutes to a couple hours. I mean, I might have some of my friends come on and talk, and I wouldn't want to waste your time, so when they come on and talk, we talk about some serious things, and but at the same time we'll have a good time. So yeah, I hope you after this one, I hope you continue to keep watching these videos. I'd love to spread this message that I believe I have, or this collection of messages that I've received, passing them on. I hope you're in for it, and yeah, I'm just really glad that you're joining in. So without further ado, let's get into the topic of this video. So you probably noticed by the title of this video is about sort of the college dilemma. And I got this idea this idea actually came to me maybe a couple years ago, and then it sort of manifested into a much more serious idea um, as I got to college. So quick background, I'm a student at UC Berkeley, if you don't know, and I'm a freshman actually. So you know, it may not seem very credible, but I mean, this is how I see it, and it's something this perspective I've thought about for a long time. So anyways, I've always kind of thought college was a strange thing, because it's almost kind of common knowledge now that people are going to school, and you're seeing a lot, or you're seeing a decrease in the value of a college degree, but you're also seeing an increase in student debt. And I think that's very troubling, because it's one thing to have more student debt, but the college degree is getting more and more important, and the value of it is increasing. That's one thing, but when they're going in opposite directions, that's troublesome, especially in this particular instance. Um, and not so much the cost of it and the value of it, but just also kind of what it does for you in society. Excuse me. Kind of what it does for you in society, and alternative ways to go about educating yourself. That's something that I find really interesting. So actually, I find it very strange how, for the longest time, college was not very expensive, but now it's getting super expensive. I mean, feel free to look up the cost of tuition at UC Berkeley. I mean, it's not by any means cheap. And the funny thing is that I have friends going to private colleges, and they're like, I remember looking up their tuition prices, and I mean, anywhere from 45,000 to 75,000. But I kid you not, all of them, they're probably paying anywhere from 25,000 to 18,000, maybe a few paying 28,000. That's still actually a lot less than what I'm paying. And I'm at a public university, they're at a private university, and it's that's very interesting because, you know, public universities are federally funded, and I mean, obviously private universities, they're funded on their own, and it makes me think about how and why college is so expensive. So I actually, my senior year of high school, I had an AP Econ class, and my teacher wanted us to do a research project. It was open-ended. We could do anything that was related to economics. I mean, he even suggested, he said, take an economic look at, is Thanos right? You know, in Avengers Infinity War, like, is he right? And you, like, try and use economics to support that. And so that's just an example, but I took maybe a less fun route compared to that, and I was really curious about how come the price of college is going up. And you know, another funny thing that I've noticed is that student loans are just everywhere, and people are getting into deeper debt by the year. And so I actually did my paper on, is there a correlation between the student loan availability and the increased prices in tuition. And so after I researched this topic, I found out that yeah, there is a correlation, and I'll go into it a little bit deeper now, but I started my paper off like this. So this is kind of how the logic you have to look at this circumstance with. So let's say you go into a grocery store and you go to buy you go to buy milk, and milk's let's just say $2 for a gallon, and then maybe $2.20 for a carton of eggs, and then $3 for a loaf of bread. And that's fine. Pretty low prices, right? Relatively. And so, but by the next time you have to go get groceries, the government says, we want everyone to have groceries, so we're going to give you whatever your groceries cost, we're going to cover it. We're going to give you a way to buy your groceries, whatever that way is. So you go in and you say, they're going to give me a way to buy whatever groceries I need, so why not take advantage of it? You know, it's not necessarily your money. And so you go in and you buy extra milk, you buy extra eggs, you buy extra bread, extra cereal, whatever. And it's great because you get them at low prices. And you have a lot, so it lasts you a long time. But the third time you go in to buy your groceries, the prices have gone up, and you're wondering, well, how can this be? So because everyone is paying, or they're spending as if it's not their money, they buy a lot, like you did. And because everyone's buying a lot, there's a big increase in demand, and with that same supply, the only way to keep up with demand is increase supply, which the market can't really do, or they have to raise prices. So I would recommend looking up an economic graph of supply and demand, and you'll see that they intersect. You have demand and you have supply, and wherever they intersect, that's desired market price. And when you have an increase in demand, it shifts to the right, and what you notice is that that intersection, it goes up, and so that raise in the intersection is raise in price. So that's why the price is higher. So when you go in, your groceries are ridiculously higher, and you're like, why am I paying $7 for milk? Why am I paying $9 for bread? You know, all this stuff, and it just kind of the prices just kind of get out of hand, and so this is kind of exaggerated because in this scenario only the government's paying for it, and in the college scenario you're paying for it, but you're paying for it with the help of the government. In this case, I'm talking specifically public student loans. So that's kind of the logic. So relating that grocery store logic to the college logic, you have let's see, I believe it was like 1965, the United States government started making a way to give students more money for college, to get more kids to go to college, and so after this amount of time, from 1965 to here we are in 2018, you have these this huge raise in price, and they just keep on giving out more student loans. Like, okay, here's student loan. It's like all right, I can't pay for it now, but I got a student loan. I'll just take it on and pay it off within the 25 years. But the higher the price, the more loans you need, and I mean the more you're going to have to pay off. And I mean, just a quick chart I found here on marketwatch.com, and I plan to link all my sources in the description. But this actually says, and they adjusted for inflation, and they said so the average price of an undergrad degree, 1987, $39,000, okay, 2016, $103,000, and it's a big jump in price. It's like the groceries. They go from, it's like a $2 gallon of milk to a $6, $7, $8 gallon of milk. It's like, why is that? So and it's because of that money that the government is giving you. It's like, oh, well, they have the money, so they can pay for it, but we need to meet demand. Our supply needs to meet demand, and the only way we can do that is raise the price. So that's what we're seeing here. And I found, I don't want to go too deep into it, but please feel free to look into this stuff afterwards. I have an article by Forbes posted in 2017. This guy, Preston Cooper, he talks about how the name of the article is How Unlimited Student Loans Drive Up Tuition, and he goes into it, and then he also cites this paper, this pretty interesting paper by these UCLA professors, I believe they are, and so these UCLA professors, they wrote this paper on the same topic, and they specifically looked at the PLUS program, which I'm not too familiar with it, but it's a means of the government giving or making it easier to go to college, to pay for college. And so what happened is you have this rise in tuition, rise in student loan availability, and then they wrote in 2011, I believe the date was here. Yeah, it says, let's see. Yeah, 2011. So the the Obama administration, um, they constricted the plus program by a lot. And well, actually I don't think it was a lot, but they constricted it, and they actually saw the price of tuition go down. But see, the sad part is you could say, well, okay, well, if student loans, if the student loan availability has a correlation to the rise in tuition, then why don't we just cut the availability of student loans? Well, see that it's good idea. It's a good idea, but it can't be implemented instantaneously, because instantaneously you have these people who, a lot of them would be forced to drop out of college, and because the university may not be able to adjust its price instantaneously. So you'd have to go about it by solving it, um, like you'd have to decrease the availability over time, and not by a significant amount, and or excuse me, not by a significant rate. And so this whole thing is kind of troublesome, because it's like well, the government just throws student loans at people, and it's like, great, I can pay for college, I have my degree, but my degree isn't worth as much, and I have a lot more debt than, say, someone 10, 20 years ago did, by comparison. And that's troublesome. I mean, it doesn't advocate for college very much, and it's not a good thing for the universities, because you're gonna, if this trend continues, I predict there's gonna be a lot more kids going, well, I want to go to college, but I mean, do I really want to take on this load of debt? And it's something that I had to consider. I was like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but I think personally I'm in a pretty good place where I'll be able to take it on comfortably, maybe get by, and so I'm looking at these sites, and they're talking about the value of sorry, that was my phone, but they're talking about the value of a college degree. And you have, let's see, you have the Washington Post. They say, this article is called, "Is a college degree the new high school diploma? Here's why your degree's worth is stagnant." So they talk about the college degree goes up in value, but because it goes up in value, and because so many people are now able to get a college degree because of student loans, since the availability of college has gotten so much easier, it's almost like the new norm. It kind of dilutes the value of it. So they say in this article, they say by about 2010, that's when the value of the degree, excuse me, like starts to stagnate. And then this poll posted by the Wall Street Journal, it says, it finds that exactly what I was telling you about people starting to reconsider the value of college. And it says Americans are losing faith in college degrees, and we're seeing that. Let's see here, and please feel free to check these sources out. But to me, it looks like about half of those who say, it's about half. Half of the people polled are saying it's worth it, and half of them are saying that it's not worth it. So if that opinion within society, within America, I should say, holds true and gets stronger, I mean, you're going to start seeing a decrease in attendance at the university, and I'll go into it a little bit later about why a decrease in attendance at university may actually, it'll be a bad thing for the university, obviously, but then it'll turn into a not so bad thing for the American citizen because of these alternative ways to educate yourself. And so let's see. Here's another study. Okay, so yeah, I'll also link this other site that I found, the New York Times. They have these student debt charts, kind of comparing the student debt from over the years, and then also the College Board, collegeboard.org. They have great statistics on I mean a number of things, including the average debt of a person who acquires a bachelor's degree, and I mean they have a lot of statistics on a number of things. Some things that seem kind of obscure, but so this whole idea of college becoming much more expensive, and then the value of it decreasing, it's very scary, and you kind of ask, like, well, you asked me, well, you're only a freshman, you've only been at college for, I've only been here for over a month now. You say, well, why did you choose to go to college? And it's like, well, college definitely seemed right for me. It's something that's always seemed right for me, and I'm not the only person like that, and then there are people who are not like that, and I recognize that. But this is the thing that's really kind of troublesome. So you have, like I said, you have the expense of college just going up, and then you have student debt going up, and excuse me, you have this problem that I've laid out. It's clearly a problem, and then the value of it is not, it's going down, also a big problem. But here's a funny thing, and then this is kind of a little bit more of an anecdotal side of the video today. So we'll kind of go off in a different path here. So personally right now, like, I was having trouble in my physics class, and my professor didn't explain it, at least in a way that I could understand in lecture. My GSI didn't really explain it. He kind of helped, but not too much. But I go to do the homework, I'm having kind of a tough time. I go on YouTube, and there's literally a video for the exact same problem. It's not the exact same problem, but the same type of problem. And this guy goes in detail and makes a lot of sense on how to solve this problem. And I'm sure that a lot of you watching, going through high school, college, you've watched, especially in the modern day, you've watched videos on YouTube that made so much sense that your teacher could never explain to you. And so that it kind of makes me wonder, how come the education seems so much, like, the quality of it seems better on the internet, but yet we have to, like, American society kind of makes us go to college, and that's what I mean by the college dilemma. There's so much knowledge in the internet and in people around you that if you were determined enough, you would not need to go to college. You could legitimately sit down and go through lectures. I mean, here, grab my phone. I'll show you. So I went. Okay, excuse me. I went through on YouTube today and I looked up all of these different lectures, and I mean, you could see the very there's a lot of different subjects on here. I mean, you have economics, you have history, you have quantum mechanics, you have astronomy, you have evolution, you have political science, psychology, sociology, and I kid you not, every single topic I looked up, there are lectures from legitimate universities. You find lectures from Stanford, Harvard, Yale, top-notch universities in America, and they're on YouTube. I mean, that's incredible to me. If you had the determination, you could legitimately go through these lectures and learn, and then not only that, if something in the lecture doesn't make sense, just like if you were actually attending the class, you could literally go explore more on YouTube and find someone who explains it to you, because I'm sure I'm not the only one when I'm saying this, but it has blown my mind the amount of just obscure things that I've had trouble with, and I'm like, there's no way YouTube can help me out with this. There's no way some source on the internet can help me out with this. They're like, it's almost fail proof that you're gonna find something that won't, help you. There's so many sources that can just help you in some of the most obscure things, and it blows my mind, really. And that's what I've really been thinking about. That's kind of troubling, is that you have this hardship of college, of trying to figure out how to pay for it. The expenses rising, the value of it is going down. That's really scary. People are having a hard time getting out and finding a job after college. And I actually saw a study written by, I apologize because I won't be able to cite this because I can't remember what it was, but I saw this study by some paper up here in the Bay, and they were talking about, like, for a while now, it's been people with the social sciences, humanities degrees that are having a hard time finding jobs, and then now you're here and there, you're starting to see this trend sort of take off, where the STEM fields are starting to see some unemployment, and I've heard of people who excuse me, who have had a degree in a STEM field and they just couldn't find a job. And for the longest time it was like, you can have a degree in a social science and a humanities field, and you can expect to have a hard time finding a job, but STEM's always going to be there for you. And I myself was very heavily set on STEM, and up until a few months ago that's sort of changed, which is kind of scary. But then at the same time, the STEM fields are also starting to see a little bit of that. Here and there you have this kind of job security instability, if you will. And so you have this, it's this problem, because college is a serious thing. It's very serious. You go and you're in a completely new environment. From start to end, you become a completely different person, and you have the opportunity to learn so much, not just through school, but also by meeting new people and experiencing new things. But man, it's a lot of money. And I had this own problem where I'm thinking, man, like, this is a lot of money, and I want to find a way to make sure that I can pay for it. Like, I want to know that when in college is all said and done, that I can get out of it and go, okay, I can tackle on this burden of student debt. And I think that's a big problem that a lot of kids are are running into now is this serious thing of college. And then it's like, but conversely, you have this thing where it's like, it's almost really hard to find success without a college degree for a lot of people. But I also don't want to detract from the fact that there are so many jobs in like the manual labor in the manual labor industry. It's so broad, but there's a lot of jobs that pay great. But you have a lot of people who are cut out for that. And to go off on a little bit of a tangent, sometimes I feel like high schools stress college way too much. And it's kind of scary because there are so many kids out there who are like, they know college is not for them. I know someone very close to me who for the longest time just did not like school at all, and it's just, school is not for her. And you know, it's scary because it's like, well, school's not for me, so why would I go to college? And then it's also scary, like, well, if I don't go to college, am I going to find a job? So it's this weird limbo, to say the least, or I should say, for lack of a better term, because it's like there's just so much uncertainty to it, and it's a lot of you know, kind of like you have to have a leap of faith in it, no matter what direction you go in. It's like, you know what, I don't really know what's going to happen, but I've learned, and I'm sure a lot of you have, that sometimes life has a funny way of working things out. But to go now, to kind of go off maybe a prediction of what this all means. So I have, like, going back to just how much information there is on the internet. If you are determined enough, you can get the education you need just by the sheer willpower of spending time on the internet and learning. And but the problem is you can't really go into a job and say, like, okay, I know I'm qualified, I know all the background I need to do this job, and you know, I'm ready to be hired. And then they say, okay, where's your degree? Where's your degree that proves that? And you go, well, I didn't spend 4 years getting a degree. I didn't spend all that money getting a degree. I spent my time on, and it sounds funny. You could say I spent all my time on the internet learning, and I could prove it to you. But then they go, man, you know, that thing of like, I spent all my time on the internet, you almost kind of lose credibility. And so it's kind of hard because, I mean, like I said, I mean, you could go in on YouTube and find lectures on relativity and quantum mechanics, and it's like, you could look up, not even like entry level college or college subjects, like look into these very specific aspects of a particular field, and I'm sure I'd be willing to bet anything on it that the internet is going to have something for you. And so it's this thing where okay, what could we do? Is there a way to sort of decrease the availability of student loans so that way at least college is going to be more affordable and you're not going to have this student debt? Well, that's a good idea. Or maybe that's not going to happen, and maybe you're just going to have a lot less kids going to college, because I've looked, and for the most part, college is only getting more expensive, and it's going to keep getting more expensive. And that's even for people who would be, I'm just taking out student loans. At some point, it's going to get so daunting that they're just not even going to go. And so there's this this real kind of dilemma. I mean, like I said in title. It's like, do you go to college and risk everything, you know, I was talking about, or do you try and go work a trade, or maybe a trade's not right for you? I mean, they're like a lot of almost every kid at college almost that a trade's not right for them, and they want to go into something a little bit more, um, uh, not less manual labor per se, and it's like, yeah, it's interesting. You know, what are we going to do from here? So, I think there's going to be some sort of paradigm shift within the next 20, 30 years, if we kind of just let this continue. There's going to be something kind of drastic that's going to happen in how we as a society accept college degrees into the workplace. So that that is my whole my whole thought on the entire college experience, because man, anybody going to college is going to have these thoughts, and some to a much more extensive degree than me, and some to a far less to a far less degree than me. So, but anybody going to college is going to have these thoughts. So this is something where it's like, if you know, if you're considering college or you're in college and you're having these questions, you know, just know you got one more person. It's like, hey man, or it's like, I'm worried too, you know. So yeah, I think there's going to be a big change, and that's kind of what I have to say on it. And please feel free to look up the links I put down below. And you know, thank you so much if you've made it this far. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope I didn't babble on too much. Sometimes I do that, and I was trying to be very conscious of that during this. So I really hope that I wasn't doing that, and I hope it was interesting for you. It's not the future videos I post are not just going to be about college. I mean, there could be some things relating to college, but for the most part, this is about it on what I have to say about the whole grand scheme of college. Most of my videos are just going to be these concepts that can deeply resonate with people of my generation, younger people, and then it's going to be these problems that I see, assessing them, and then you know, I'm just an 18-year-old kid, but if I can offer you any advice, I'll do it. Take it or leave it. So that's what most of these videos are going to be about, and I really hope you join me on the next one. And like I said, if you made it this far, thank you so much for continuing to watch. I mean, it'd be great to grow a little bit of a fan base, and not just people who are watching, but I really encourage you to reach out and you know, talk to me. You know, so if there's some things you I mean, not just on this video, but on future videos, if you disagree with me on things, you know, please reach out. I mean, I love conversation. I love you know, very civil, of course, civil debates on things, and please follow me on my. I have a secondary Twitter devoted much more to these big ideas. So that'd be the best way to get in contact with me, and that is Mauk, TMAUK_2, and you'll see a little icon of a guy with an illuminated brain, and like hardly any followers because it's my secondary account. But yeah, follow me, and you know, tweet at me, whatever, comment on the video, and yeah, I hope you join me for the next time, and thanks for watching.